wanted to thank you for taking the opportunity to discuss the book with me. It's been a crazy fun journey writing the book and working with you to produce the book for Audiobook. So I wanted to ask you, what attracted you to narrating I Just Wanted Love?
Well, that's the question I needed to ask you, because I never auditioned for this book. I don't know if you picked me by mistake, because I was at a gig. I'm a musician also. So that night, I got the offer from you and as well as another author. And I was so excited because I was just like, okay, somebody wants me to narrate their book. I don't even know what this book is. And then I only read the synopsis. So I said, okay, it sounds interesting. Let me go ahead and accept the contract. I was like, okay, what did you hear in order to choose me?
Well, it was your voice. It was your voice. I mean, you had the voice that I was looking for. You know, I'm from the South. I'm from Georgia. And I didn't know that you were currently living in Georgia, which is pretty funny.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so when I heard the snippets of some of the work that you had done, I thought, why not? So I offered the contract. But I'm really glad that you read the synopsis and you liked it.
Right, yeah, I appreciated that. Now, what I was surprised that it was part of the LGBT community. That was surprising.
Why was that surprising for you?
I didn't expect that, because there was no way to indicate that in the book. I mean, the synopsis that I read.
So I'm curious, how do you go about translating the content that you receive into a different medium, like the audio?
Well, with a novel, and I've always done this with my kids. Whenever we read a book of some sort, short story, everything, I hear the voices, or it's almost like a script in a sense. And I was big on acting when I was in high school, as well as in college. I did a lot of college plays, Jesus Christ Superstar, Godspell, Raisin in the Sun, a whole bunch of different plays. And so whenever I read anything, I kind of approach it as that and try to make it live for me, so that it doesn't become boring.
Okay. Wow.
It's almost like saying a movie, because most novels are movies or end up becoming movies. So
that's
curious
true.
to see how that comes out.
Yeah, especially nowadays. You know, I know about the movies before I even know that they're a book.
Right. And I was an avid reader growing up. So whenever, particularly with the Holloway House novels, the Donald Coyne's novels, Iceberg Slim, things of that nature. But then my mother also had a Reader's Digest.
Okay.
So reading those and getting a sense of what the author was trying to convey, if it had to translate to the stage or into a film, was different, because I do film sometimes too.
Okay. I'll keep you in mind. I have the script working in my head right now.
It's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. I've written a movie script before, and it was very challenging. So I definitely have it in my mind as a potential option. What did you think as you first came onto the project about the project, and what do you think now?
Okay, that first else, the prologue leading up to it, that was cool. But with those first lines in that first paragraph, in that first paragraph of chapter 1, I was like, wait a minute, what did I just do? I was like, that was a stretch.
Yes.
That was a stretch, because I was like, okay, I had to read a little bit further to find out where you were at, what was going on, and everything, because there was a lot of drama in those first few pages. Then when you came across Kenny, I was like, oh my goodness. So you went on a journey.
Yes, it's still on it. You know, I told someone yesterday, like, I am on this journey and will be on it for the rest of my life, and I'm loving it.
Wow.
I'm absolutely loving it.
Yeah.
You know, and
see, I have cousins that are in the LGBT community, and think your book might help them
Hey,
as well. But because
send it.
I don't, it was just something that happened. Like I had a cousin. I'm from Gary, Indiana, originally.
Okay.
And I had a cousin that came down here. He was married, and then the next thing I know, he was not married anymore, and he was gay. I was like, okay, how'd that happen?
Right.
You know.
Hmm.
But that was his journey. You know,
Right.
I still love my cousin. So.
Well, very good. That's very good. You know, it's interesting that you brought up chapter one because that was one of my questions. It was like, I was thinking chapter one is thought to be very explicit and in your face. And I was
Yeah.
curious about how that impacted you. And, you know, what were your thoughts about that? You know, what did you take away from it?
So, as you were going through the trial, because Kenny was a mess.
Yes, he is a mess.
He was a real mess. Particularly, I like that line where he said that he thought titles actually should mean something, particularly that of husband and father.
Yeah.
And that was like, yeah, it should mean something, but this dude was selfish as all get out. All he was thinking about was himself.
Mm-hmm.
And your journey, particularly as I traveled with you, and you met different friends and your experiences, how you came about what you came about, it was like, okay, I can see that. As it affected me, it was interesting playing you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. It was interesting playing you.
I like to keep
Through
it
my
interesting.
voice.
Yes, with your voice. Yes, absolutely. And I think that's going to be really fun for the listeners, especially folks that know me either because I'm their therapist or they've seen me speak at some engagement, because our voices are different, and very different. And I think that that's going to really surprise them, and I think they're going to be excited about it because your voice is very engaging. Because I thought about doing the audiobook, and I was like, I don't want to hear myself read this damn book. You know, I just spent years writing it. You know, but I love it. You know, when and people talk to me about the book, I said, it's a good book. It's one of my favorite books. I find myself rereading it. I wrote it, and I reread it.
A lot of people who I've listen to it so far, they've really liked it as well.
Good. Good.
It was very just because they were surprised. One, because they know me,
right,
and saying that once again, it was that stretch. It didn't put me in that that the cool royal thing and musician and things like that. But it was a real stretch for them to actually see me do something that they wouldn't do.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm curious. Before you took this project, did you know anything about codependence or sex and love addiction?
I want to say yes, because being married 3 times, there was I suspected my second wife was a codependent because she had her issues,
mm-hmm.
and we had our issues together. With my first wife, I lived in Europe, and I think we were both addicted to sex because we had sex with different people outside of the marriage.
Okay.
And that was a different journey. So,
wow.
But I never had thought of it as an addiction, so to speak, because for one, me and therapists don't get along at all. I am very high strung and very confident in myself.
That is funny.
Because it's almost seems like they're trying to push you into a certain way of thinking, and I don't think that way because my mother had this idea about getting over it.
Right.
It's always you take responsibility for your actions no matter what it is. So it's always your little red wagon. You the one that got to pull it.
Exactly.
So I've always had that thought. My father, I love my father, but he died when I was 14. And my watching my father go through the things that he did, and knowing, how he probably died of a broken heart, so to speak. And I grew up blaming my mom for all that, but that was just one of those things that we don't talk about no more because I love my mom dearly.
Yeah.
And she's 76 now, and she is cute as she want to be.
And now, does she know about you reading this book?
She knows about the book. My sister, Reverend Kimberly Jordan.
Reverend? Okay.
Yeah, both my brother and my sister are religious.
Oh, they're religious. Okay.
Yeah. Let me put it like that. So.
All right.
I've both sent them a copy, and they were quite aware of that. So.
All right.
But my mother was the one that actually got me involved with acting, so she understands it's a role.
All right. Very cool. All right. Well, let's move on to the next question. What challenges did you face producing this project?
We talked about that hiss, that 60 hertz hiss. I had so much trouble. Every time I recorded it, I kept hearing that underlying hiss. And when I first submitted it to you and you listened to it, you had mentioned something about a low bypass filter, and I looked for that in the program that I was using. And I used it, but it didn't really take the effect. And we bounced back and forth with that because that seemed one of the biggest challenges to get the book accepted by quality by ACX. It went to the point where I had two choices. I either had to find another program, or I had to redo the book all over again.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, I didn't want to do that last one. I did because I knew how long it would take.
Yeah, I didn't want you to have to do the last one either.
Yeah, we didn't. Fortunately, I did find the program. I had to actually go consult with one of my friends who works in a radio station, and he told me about the program that they use there. And I downloaded the trial version, and it worked.
Excellent.
Yeah, it worked.
Well, I've been listening to the audiobook for the last couple of days since it got uploaded to Audible, and it sounds amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it really, truly does. And it's great work. So thank you. Thank you for that.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite chapter?
Yeah. The one where you had to take off from school because you needed some time off because the stress was just getting to you.
Yes.
And you had invited Caleb over.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, that's the sample that I put up.
I know, and I think that's a great sample.
Yeah. But if they just hear the rest of it, because I got to do an angry dad. Oh, and the chapter where you met your dad, and your dad called Kenny.
Yes.
I had so much fun doing that.
Tell me about that, because that is one of my questions. How did you connect with those emotions? Because I tell you what, you sounded just like my dad in that moment, and it took me back to the moment. I felt like I was back in his living room, listening to him scream on that phone to that man. It took me there.
Right. Well, I appreciate that. That was when I read the chapter. I just read it out first, and I was like, "What if my dad had to go through that situation?" Even more so. My daughter had got into a situation where she almost got raped, and they caught the rapist.
Thank goodness.
So I kind of drew from that.
Okay.
Because as a father, when you get a call from the FBI saying that this guy was a serial rapist, and it was like, what? Because I still want to choke him, but
right.
That's where your dad came from.
Okay. Wow. So what I'm hearing you say is that you tapped into some genuine empathy.
Yes.
Yeah. That it was powerful. I laughed and I almost cried. I mean,
Really?
because it took me to that moment while I was sitting there
Wow.
with him. And when he got up, he took that phone and went into the other room. I could hear him. And it was like I was back there. It was amazing.
Wow.
So thank you for capturing that. I wasn't sure if anyone could capture that, and you did it. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Like I said, it was a fun read.
Yeah.
Definitely a fun read.
Well, I'm really excited about, what's going to happen next because the audiobook has been released. I'm doing a little listening party online for folks to get a snippet of the first chapter. We got some promo codes that we're giving out to folks. Hopefully get some good reviews coming in for the both of us and
And
and we'll see what
that,
happens next.
yeah, that's the goal. There are some things that I'm places that I'm trying to send it to as far as them to reviewing it,
Oh, good.
particularly from the audio, like for audio file.
Okay.
Uh, there's the and there's some friends that I have in the media. There there is a question that I did want to ask you.
Okay, well ask away.
Okay, one of those guys as you were going through, I think as the mentor's,
Yeah.
you had mentioned that there was a guy that was in radio that uh, that you had a relationship with, and I don't know if I know this guy or not, but we suspected his initials are MR.
You know what? It could be because I have no idea because I knew him by his stage name.
Oh, he had a stage name.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Really?
Yeah. I didn't
Oh,
know his
okay.
real name.
It must be a different guy then.
Must be a different guy. Is he tall and thin?
No,
Okay.
no.
Well, it ain't
This
him.
guy was short, but we had always suspected that he was he had a little sugar in his tanks.
Now that's
No
old school.
offense, you know.
That's old school. I haven't heard that in a while. Okay. Well, okay, listeners, do not get offended.
Please don't. No.
Don't
Please
get
don't.
offended. No harm meant. Well, I want to thank you so much for the opportunity to talk with you and get to know you a little bit better. I mean, we have been emailing, texting back and forth for several months now, and it has been a process for sure, but I am grateful for it. So thank you.
And thank you for giving me the chance to actually play you and do your book, your narration. That's one of the actually the first complete books that I've done, and then I did my poem book. So
Okay, all right.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's other books that since I finished with your book, I've gotten 3 more offers to do other books,
Okay.
and I'm in the process of working on those now.
All
So
right. Well, good luck with that, and I look forward to hearing them.
okay, great,
All
great. I'll
right.
let you know when they're done.
All right. Well, take care, okay?
All right, you too.
All right. Thanks so much.
All right,
All
take care,
right.
DJ.
Bye.